Hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are back with another UFC fight night. Coming off the trails of the best card of the year and one of the greatest cards of all time, we have UFC Fight Night Vegas 77, Holm versus Mayra Bueno Silva. In prime time, too. In prime time. Don't know how well I agree with that, to be perfectly honest with you, but oh well. And it didn't help that they didn't do much on this card, but you know what? It's UFC Fight Night. I like watching fights. I like watching people fight, and there's still a chance for it being a sleeper card. Let's get into the card. So, first we're going to have Ashley Evans-Smith versus Alan Perez. Ashley Evans-Smith does not really take her career seriously, so I'm going to be going with Alan Perez. Not much to say about that fight. Fortunately, I'll be honest with you, there's not much to say about most of these fights. Alexander Munoz versus Carl Deaton. I like Alexander Munoz. It's a lightweight fight. It should be a scrap. This has the potential for being a good scrap. Carl Deaton's got some solid boxing and wrestling, but meh. Flyweight belt between Tyson Nam versus Azat Maksum. Azat Maksum is a pretty hot prospect coming into this. Even though he does not have his picture, do not let it fool you. He's got solid overall striking with a really good ground game, really good top game. I like him. I like the Kazakhstan fighter over here. That should be a fun one. Evan Elder versus Gernaldo Valdez. I like Evan Elder to get the KO in this fight. Not much in it, but I feel like this should be a pretty solid fight, to be perfectly honest with you. Featherweight bout between Austin Lingo and Meliquez Costa. I'm actually not very high on Costa, to be honest with you. From what I've seen from his fights, he doesn't seem like he's all that, to be honest with you. We've seen him. He lost against Moises and got submitted by him. I'm not a huge fan of his striking game. I'm not a huge fan of his ground game. While Austin Lingo, while I'm not a huge fan of him, I do like his KO power. Yeah, I do like his KO power, and I'm going to be leaning towards Austin Lingo, to be perfectly honest with you. Estela Nunes versus Victoria Dudakova, I believe. Forgive me. Again, that's a hard one. And usually when I have a picture, doesn't mean I have a lot of data on them. But yes, of these two, I've only seen one of their last fights. I'm going to actually be leaving with Dudakova, to be perfectly honest with you, from that, but not super high on that fight. Tucker Lutz versus Melsick. Not even gonna try. But I'm going with Melsick. Seems like a pretty solid grappler. Some pretty solid striking. To be honest with you, these are pretty weak prelims. They're pretty weak, honestly. But now we get to the main event, or the main card, and it does have a little bit better. Nazim Sadikov versus Terrence McKinney. That actually is a sleeper fight. Potential for best fight of the night, to be perfectly honest with you. That should be a pretty solid banger. I know a lot of people really high on Terrence McKinney until he got knocked out by the younger the Bone Theme brothers, who ended up disappointing everyone with his last fight. But Nazim Sadikov is also a pretty explosive fighter. This should be a solid lightweight belt. I'm going to be going with Nazim Sadikov, to be perfectly honest with you, over Terrence McKinney. But I think this one's a sneaky fight. A lot of people are anticipating this fight is going to be a short, quick banger fight because how these guys fight. I feel both guys are too tough that'll go long. Yes, I know McKinney got knocked out by the Bonfim, but the Bonfims hit really hard. They make poor decisions. Well, the younger of the Bonfim brothers make poor decisions, but they still hit pretty freaking hard. Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler. I'm not a big fan of this fight, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to go Norma Dumont, but I feel this fight's going to go long. I feel it's very, very evident this fight's going to go long. A middleweight bout between Albert Duraev versus Jung-Young Park. Jung-Young Park is the favorite in this fight, a slight favorite. I'm not a huge fan of Jung-Young Park. I do like the wrestling of Albert Duraev. I could easily see Jung-Young Park piece him up, strike him up, and get a win over Duraev, but I'm actually going to be leaning towards Duraev just because I feel his wrestling is going to be a little bit more solid than Jung-Young Park. But I still think that has the potential for being a decent fight. Atman Azatar versus Francisco Prado. This is, I feel, contendering with the Sadikov fight and the McKinney fight, to be honest with you, to be a potential fight at night. I'm not a huge fan of Atman Azatar, but he is a solid fighter, only having one loss only having one loss to Matt Favola in a banger fight. That's the thing. He's going to put on a I feel like he's going to really go out there and put on a brawl. Same thing with Francisco Prado. I'm leaning towards Prado just because of how badly I saw Azatar got chinned. Granted, he did take a good bit of time off because that was back at 281, but Francisco Prado also got his butt beaten in his last fight. But of the two, Prado I'm going to lean towards, but this one I feel should be a good fight, and I feel this one's going to go short. But I could be wrong. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The main reason to watch this fight, that's not right. That's not right. But the main reason to watch this card, honestly, is probably Jack Della Maddalena. I'm going to be honest with you. It was so sad to see Jack Della Maddalena versus Brady off. Then Jack Della Maddalena versus I don't even know who was off. And we couldn't see him at 290. I really wanted to see him at 290. He would have added more to that card. He would have got another knockout on that card, or at least another finish, and that would have been great. It just having him get a highlight finish against anyone would have just absolutely elevated 290. We didn't get that lucky. Jack Della Maddalena did not want to waste the camp. He did not want to waste the trip out to Vegas. So they put him on against Basil Hafez. Something to say about 290. Before he pulled out, before the fight got pulled out, Jack Della Maddalena was my lock of night, honestly. I know a lot of people have Bo Nickel as their their lock of the night. I had Jack Della Maddalena as my lock of the night. Jack Della Maddalena is more proven than Nickel was, despite him absolutely decimating his opponent. But he's more proven. This guy, he's number 14 right now, but he could be top 5. He could be top 5. He just needs to fight the guys to get up there. But I definitely think he beats everyone. Everyone in the welterweight division, I think Jack Della Maddalena beats easily, finishes up until top 5. And once we get into top 5, we need to see more. We need to see more. We need to talk. But Jack Della Maddalena, just amazing in all aspects from what I've seen of him. Basil Hafez is going to be destroyed. I think these odds are BS. Minus 625 is almost a disrespect to Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena needs to be Bo Nickel level of odds. He needs to be at minus 1100 to be perfectly honest with you. But oh well. Jack Della Maddalena, finish. Anyway, finish, knockout. Honestly, round 1. I'm going to say round 1. That's an easy bet, I feel. So, yep, JDM. Then we're going to go to the main event. Holm versus Mayra Bueno Silva. I got to say, man, this is indeed a fight. If it wasn't for the name of Holm banking off her win over Rousey back in 2015 or 16. It's 16, right? 16 or 15. I can't remember. That was so long ago. Yep. Yep, 2015. Holm has still somewhat of a name, but let's be honest here, man. Let's be honest. Yeah. And Mayra Bueno Silva, I don't blame many people for not even knowing of her. But yes, let's break down this fight. It's going to be a bantamweight fight between Holm and Mayra Bueno Silva. Holm's going to be 41 years of age, 15 wins, 6 losses, 8 knockouts, not a damn submission. 5'8" in terms of height, southpaw stance, 69. Nice. Reach advantage, a 0.92 takedown average, a 49.51% significant strike accuracy. And she's going to be a minus 190 favorite. Significant wins over Yana Santos, Irene Aldana, Raquel Pennington, and I put Ronda Rousey on there just because she's the biggest name, but it's so far ago that's probably not her most significant win. It's just you had to put it on there. I could put significant losses, and oh man, she got a laundry list, honestly. But yes, Mayra Bueno Silva, gonna be 31 years of age, 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. She has 1 knockout, 7 submissions, 5'6" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 66.5-inch reach disadvantage, a 0.38 takedown average, a significant strike accuracy of 62.23%, and she's gonna be a plus 160 underdog with a significant win over Lena Landsberg. That's the only one I'm really going to put on there. So yes, this is indeed the main event. Jack Della Maddalena probably could have been the main event over it, but he's going off to do off the couch, and this has been established as the main event. So Holm can still fight, though. Believe it or not, despite her age, Holm can still fight. I don't like fighters being that old, and also Holm does not have the best activity, to be perfectly honest with you. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. She has fought this year, but overall, still not the best activity. If you really look at Holly Holm's list of activities, she's had one fight this year, so this will be a second fight this year. That's good. And also against Yana Santos, who's okay, pretty decent. She had a split decision loss against Vera. That was not that long ago. It's been a year now, a little over a year. So, Then she had a 2-year layoff after a win against Aldana and a win against Pennington. I don't like layoffs. I don't like when people take a lot of time. Like, if you take a layoff, I think you should take like a 6-month layoff if you got brutally knocked out. And even then, people have disregarded that and come back to work excellently. Like you see, Israel Adesanya got knocked out and he came back 4 or 5 months later, and look what he did. But I just don't like layoffs, and I don't like layoffs at the tender age of 41. Regardless, it's not like she's going up against someone who's more efficient in the bantamweight division, like Juliana Pena, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of the women's bantamweight division, to be honest with you. Flyweight's pretty okay, and then strawweight's pretty decent. Those are pretty good, but I'm not a huge fan of the women's bantamweight division. She's not... I think Holly Holm has a chance to win this, and I'm going to be leaning towards Holly Holm, mainly due to her veteran ability, her skill, and the fact is, yes, you see 6 losses, but you look at the people she's lost to the actual good fighters in this division. Vieira's a split decision loss. I think it could have gone either way. I'm not one of the people who say Holm got robbed. And then she has a solid wins over Raquel Pennington, who's pretty solid. Her then losses are against Nunes, Cyborg, and where is she? Shevchenko. So those are some of the best fighters in women's UFC history, to be perfectly honest with you. So there's no fault in her losing to those fighters. The people who she should have beat, she beat. So she's got really solid boxing. She came from a boxing background. That's what she became known for. But one thing to mention, as she went later on her career, as tend with most fighters as they go later on, they discover a love for wrestling because it's simply easier once you discover the tactic to just get on top of your opponent and lay on them and pepper them with shots. If they just do not have good wrestling, you just learn how to beat most of your fighters. And that's what Holly Holm does now in a lot of her in her most recent fights. She still has very good picking from distance shots, and she still strikes a lot. Her takedown average is still very low, but that's because of her earlier career where she really did not go for takedowns as much. But in her most recent fight, she will take the opponent down. She will lean him up against the fence, and she'll grind it out. She will go to decision. Holly Holm has been going to decision since 2019, and that last time she didn't go decision, she was knocked out. Otherwise, decision. Last time she got a knockout was in 2017. So she knows how to grind out, finish this decision with her veteran abilities. I think that's more than likely how it's going to play out against Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva has some pretty solid striking. I like her leg kicks. I like her body shots. That's really nice on her. But overall, she's really more so a knock you down and submit you. Her takedowns have not been the greatest, and she doesn't attempt a lot of them. She's attempted 4 of them, but that's her main thing. She just wants to get you to submit you. Simple as that. I did like her trip against Lena Landsberg. It was sloppy, but it was still a trip. But something like that is not going to work against Holly Holm. I do see the reason why I would lean against Holly Holm is because of the age factor. I could see Mayra Bueno Silva chaining her with some shots, hitting her hard. That orthodox stance does open up some pretty solid hooks, some left hooks. Like if she hand fights, she's really good at hand fighting. She's able to catch Holly Holm with a clean hook. While it may not do the most damage, the age might catch up to Holly Holm. The fact she's been knocked out before, I could see her dropping, and then Mayra Bueno Silva getting a submission. But Holly Holm is very hard to submit, so I don't know. There's multiple ways you could go. This is a fight I like. This is a fight I like to bet on. But if you must bet something on this fight, bet it to go long. Bet it to go long. Literally, all of Holly Holm's fights, decision. Even if she loses a split decision, gets beat up by Mayra Bueno Silva, I more than likely will see it going all the way. Bet over 3.5, bet over 4.5, and I feel you're going to get your money's value. But also, I don't know what the lines are going to be for that. Overall, I agree with the odds. I lean slightly towards Holm by decision, but Mayra Bueno Silva, I can't see her getting a submission early. I'd say early. But also Mayra Bueno Silva can go decision. Keep that in mind. She's been to decision against other better fighters like Manon Fiorot, and also she went decision against Wu Yanan. I believe I'm mispronouncing her name. Forgive me. So she can go decision. It's not like she's some elite level finisher. Yes, she has more finishes than she has decisions, but keep in mind a lot of those were pre-UFC days. Oh no, her last couple fights were actually submissions, but against Stephanie Egger and Lena Landsberg, not high competition. It's hard to say. Overall, I'm gonna lean towards Holm. I'm surprised I managed to get this long of a video out of this fight night, but I love fighting and I love UFC and I love MMA, so let me know what you think in the comment sections below of this card, and let me know what fight you're looking forward to the most. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I'm really, like, I had other plans to do this night that I'm actually going to be shirking out on just because of Jack Della Maddalena. I was initially just gonna catch this card the very next day, but oh well. This is video boy Gomi. Bye-bye.